cancellations, and notifications. Click on the event delay enrollment icon on our DeWitt Daily News blue menu bar. Find your entity, put your email address in along with a secret password only you will know, and hit submit. Go there to submit your closing or cancellation anytime, 24/7. It's that easy. Sign up now by clicking the event delay enrollment icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
In addition to great radio marketing, the Miller Media Group now offers a full suite of digital marketing solutions. Our affordable programs include custom web design and SEO to help you get found on Google. Seeking more inbound web and store traffic? Our Facebook, YouTube, and geo-targeted marketing programs are all designed to make your cash register ring. To get started, call your Miller Media account manager or go to mmgdigitalnow.com. Miller Media Digital, where digital becomes local.
Let's swing open the farm gate together every day on WHOW. I'm Stu Ellis, your host of the long-running agriculture feature called The Farm Gate. I bring the latest news and information on where agriculture is and where it's going to WHOW Ag listeners several times a day. From tariffs to treaties, from the Board of Trade to the running board on your truck, I cover Central Illinois agriculture every day on The Farm Gate. Hear it all on WHOW's many platforms, on the radio or online. Join me, Stu Ellis, for The Farm Gate.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
Get WHOW programming live or on demand right there on your desktop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone when you want it 24 hours a day. Just go to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you want to listen to live WHOW programming, just click the Listen Live icon. And if you want to hear one of your favorite WHOW programs when you want to, just click on the Audio on Demand icon. WHOW programming is there when you want it. Just another service from the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW.
CBS Sports Radio.
The many platforms of WHOW keep you up to date on the latest sports scores, sports interviews, and your calls on CBS Sports Radio every Saturday and Sunday. From professional to college, from the latest drafts to the latest deals, plus all the scores every hour. CBS Sports Radio keeps you in the know on the air and online on the many platforms of Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and talk station. Tune in or click through for CBS Sports Radio every Saturday and Sunday on WHOW.
CBS Sports Radio.
Hey, this is Todd Gleason from Illinois Extension here with a time change for our daily market report on WHOW. You can now catch our daily review of the commodity markets at 5:06 on all of WHOW's many platforms. You'll still hear all of our commodity analysts and weather professionals each afternoon, but at a brand new time. And you'll still hear the weekly wrap-up of the commodity markets right here on WHOW when Commodity Week airs Saturdays at 8:30 a.m. Remember the time change for the daily closing market report on WHOW at our new time, 5:06 p.m. weekdays.
We are 10 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning for WHOW News. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. And news streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. School for most Illinois kids gets back underway next week, and a Central Illinois University of Illinois Extension nutrition educator has a few tips on how to go back to school with a good nutrition plan for kids. Caitlin Mellendorf is the nutrition educator at the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties, and explains when parents send their kids to school with a lunch, kids may bring that lunchbox home and discover just a bit of the meal sent was eaten.
So I like to think of a couple of things. So it's going to be a consideration for your school if they, as you're planning meals, packing them in a lunchbox, starting with any restrictions that the school has. So are you a nut-free school, or maybe just peanut specific that's, not allowed? Some schools will. So that's going to vary school to school, so I recommend checking that as well first. Some schools may have a wellness policy that limits certain foods that families can pack, which might require a little bit of label reading on the part of the family and the parents to make sure that what they're packing meets those school wellness guidelines. But beyond that, packing things that your kid will enjoy, right? And I know there are so many stories of parents that will come back and look through their kids' lunchbox and like, a piece of this was eaten and a piece of that was eaten and the whole other sandwich was just still there. And that's okay. Kids, we know, don't have a lot of time when they're at lunch. And, we'd love to see that extended a little bit more. So that's something that we hope in the future will happen a little bit longer. But right now, meal times are pretty short.
Mellendorf recommends, within the guidelines of the schools, sending foods your kids enjoy and will eat. She explains a kid's appetite is going to vary depending on if they've eaten breakfast or had a snack.
So with that, packing foods that your kids like and enjoy is going to increase the odds that when you open that lunchbox at the end of the day, more of those foods are eaten. Also, just knowing that having your kids are going to, their hunger is going to vary too, right? So maybe they had a bigger breakfast, they weren't as hungry at lunch, that's all okay. So packing things that they enjoy is going to be a great start for that. This is not a time to introduce foods they've never seen before. So if they've never had cherry tomatoes in their lunch before, or they've never seen them at home, this is not the time to pop those in their lunch, because they may open that and go, what the heck is this? They may need some modeling from mom, dad, grandma, grandpa to really accept that item. So just popping something new in their lunchbox is probably not a great success for them actually eating that food. And then in terms of the speed of eating, right? So it may be helpful for especially your younger kids to kind of pre-cut some things. Now, it can be really fun for them to try and open a mandarin orange on their own. Those kiwi fruits are really nice and easy to peel, but that does add extra time for them at lunch. And so you may want to wait to let them practice peeling it at home during dinner when there's a little bit more time. But maybe for lunch, you want to pre-peel or pre-cut some of those things that are going to make it just a little bit quicker for them to start eating. Again, being mindful that they don't have a lot of time.
When it comes to nutrition in the lunches we send our kids to school with, Mellendorf says we want to keep the My Plate model in mind. She says some of these foods will provide good protein and hold off hunger for a bit.
And then here's the nutrition piece, which is having the general food groups. So the My Plate is the current food model. So you may be familiar with the Food Guide Pyramid, which is an older model. The My Plate is a circular shape, and it has 5 general food groups: fruits, vegetables, proteins, grain products, and I'll lump starchy vegetables in with that. So things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then dairy products. And so I recommend 3 to 5 of these food groups to make a nice balanced meal. So having protein is going to be a great one. It's going to fill your kids up, keep that hunger at bay for a little longer. Having a fibrous type of carbohydrate, so that could be things like whole grain breads, that could be things like pretzels to provide a little bit of that staying power and energy, and then some type of fat is going to be really helpful. So that could be a piece of cheese, that could be an egg, that could be peanut butter if your school allows nuts, or hummus would be a great one as well to add some protein. And then anything extra. Of course, I think every person, I know I'm a salty snack person, so like a bag of chips would be delicious for me. Some people are more of a sweet snack kind of person, so they want a little cookie in their lunch. If your school wellness requirements don't prohibit it, add that in there. That provides a little bit of that feeling of home, right? When you're at home, you might be able to get more access to those sweet things. So to have that as a treat for your kids in their lunch can be really nice.
When it comes to keeping foods hot or cold, Mellendorf says there are lunch boxes and materials to allow keeping hot foods hot and cold foods cold. A Central Illinois lawmaker is going to be a part of a five legislator panel in Effingham this Thursday on the WHOW morning show Monday. State Representative Dan Caulkins told Regional Radio the event takes place at the Effingham Holiday Inn Conference Center, and the topic discussed will be energy policy in Illinois.
5 of us have gotten together. We're the founding members of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Thought it would be a great idea to hold a a forum on the rising costs of energy in Illinois and bring in some experts to talk about how we got here. What's the history of our energy policy in Illinois? Kind of think about, why your electric and gas bills are so high. And then hopefully have some discussion about what might be done to help alleviate some of the pressures that we're all feeling when we get our utility bill every month. So that's in Effingham at the Keller at the Holiday Inn in Effingham, right there off the interstate. Doors open at 5:30. We'll begin our presentation around 6 o'clock. Hope to have everybody out by 7:30. We got a little reserve some time for questions and answers. Hope to have MISO there. Ameren is coming. Vistra, which owns a lot of the electric generation capacity in Illinois, is coming. We'll have a representative from Illinois Manufacturing. We'll also have a representative from the Illinois Chamber. So it's going to be, I think, a lively discussion. I think it'll be very, very informative. And hopefully people want to come out and learn a few things, have an opportunity to meet with their state reps and ask some questions.
According to Representative Caulkins, part of the program will focus on the energy policies of other states and how it is impacting Illinois. Other states are essentially creating enough energy for themselves, and if there's anything left, they can sell it to places like Illinois.
So what's happened over the last 2 or 3 years is, and as Illinois has cut its coal-fired generators, so are other states. The other states are taking care of the energy needs, like in Indiana. They're making sure that everybody in Indiana gets all the electricity they want and need to run their businesses. And then any excess goes on to the grid, and Illinois has to buy it. So we're buying electricity from Indiana, just one of the places. And of course, it's other states are also bidding on electricity from Indiana. So it becomes a auction. We know in Illinois, we need to buy 40% of our needs at this auction. And we're bidding against other states that are also wanting excess. They need more electricity. So what's happened is anybody that's been to an auction understands if there's more than one buyer, the price goes up. Well, last year, and I kind of put this in a way people can understand it. Last year at the auction, we in Illinois could buy a bucket of electricity for $5 because there was plenty of it. We were generating a lot of electricity of our own. Mm-hmm. Well, this year, we're shutting down 2 more of our coal-fired generators in September. So when we went to the auction, we were now having to buy more electricity than we had ever before. All of a sudden, a bucket of electricity costs $213 in a year. So that's why you see your electric bills have gone crazy this summer.
Local Representative Brad Hallbrook will be a part of the event, along with Representatives Blaine Wilhauer, Chris Miller, and Adam Niemerg. And again, doors open in Effingham around 5:30 at the Holiday Inn off the interstate. News time is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Tuesday morning. We've got plenty more coming your way on the WHOW Morning Show.
Baum Chevrolet Buick also has transportation options in Farmer City. This is Scott Baum. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City has been open since 2002. We have used cars and trucks, SUVs, and crossovers to fit your transportation needs. We also have a convenient service option for maintenance and repairs, plus trailer sales and trailer rentals. Come see Chase Stevenson, Taylor Kennedy for sales, and Matt French for service. Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, right from the start.
21 minutes after the hour here on this Tuesday morning, coverage of news brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. The condition of Illinois crops improved again this past week. It was hot but wet, and 96% of corn acres are now silking, says crop statistician Mark Schleusner.
55% of corn acres have reached the dough stage compared to 60 normally, and 2% of corn acres have reached the dent stage. The condition of the Illinois corn crop improved and was rated 5% very poor to poor, 20 fair, and 75% good to excellent.
90% of soybeans are blooming, 61% are setting pods, 70% of the crop is rated in good to excellent condition.
That compares to 92% 1 year ago and 89% for the 5-year average. 61% of soybeans are setting pods compared to 67% normally. Soybean conditions improved and were rated 4% very poor to poor, 26% fair, and 70% good to excellent.
The third cutting of alfalfa is now 32% complete. Average statewide topsoil moisture is rated at 8% very short, 16% short, 58% adequate, and 18% surplus. It was another banner year for the Illinois Treasurer, Mike Frericks, and his iCash program. During the last fiscal year, iCash returned a record $280 million, including unclaimed property to taxpayers. This includes forgotten bank accounts, old life insurance policies, and the like. Treasurer Frericks credits outreach efforts and simplifying the claims process.
And because of those changes we made, we have dramatically increased the number of properties we're returning to people. We're always looking at more ways to get money out there, especially at a time like today when a lot of families are going to the grocery store and they're hurting. We are trying to put more money into their pockets to help them out in these times.
Frericks urges the public to see if they have any old life insurance policies or bank accounts waiting for them.
We find about 1 in 4 people who visit our website find we have something that belongs to them. The average amount last year was about $1,000, but also check for your family members, check for deceased relatives who might have had money in an account that you weren't aware of. You can also check for your business.
Frericks says about 1 in 4 people who search the iCash database find something and encourages everyone to give it a shot. You can visit iCash.Illinois, treasurer.gov. That's iCash.Illinois, treasurer.gov. Alto Ingredients Incorporated Monday reported second quarter profits of $22.1 million on a per-share basis. The Pekin-based company says it had net incomes of 29 cents. Losses adjusted for non-recurring gains were 2 cents per share. The ethanol producer posted revenue of $362.2 million in the period. In the final minutes of trading on Monday, the company's shares hit $4.82. A year ago, they were trading at $5.16. The Illinois State Fair starts this week, and when you first arrive, you'll certainly notice improvements to the roads. Jerry Costello is the director of the Department of Agriculture and says more than $4 million has been spent to resurface and improve those roads.
And 8th Street is totally repaved all the way down to the cattle barns, the swine barns. One thing that I want to emphasize is that this paving was done with the knowledge of the fact that a lot of times there are very heavy stock trailers using that as ingress and egress. So the paving that was done with that heavy traffic and heavy trailer traffic specifically in mind. I think it will hold up well for years to come.
The spending is part of more than $58 million of overall infrastructure spending dedicated to the state fair. Agricultural export values are climbing, and so are imports. Gary Crawford has this report.
The latest complete ag trade numbers we have are for June, and the U.S. had a really good export sales month in June. USDA economist Bart Kenner, how did we do as far as export dollar value?
Agricultural exports for June 22 were $16.2 billion, which is a 24% increase over June 21.
24%. So, Bart, can I say it now, please? Huh? Can I?
Yes, you can.
All right, going to say it then. Best June export month ever.
June is busting out all over.
Well, kill that though. That's a bit much, because Bart says while we sold a June ag record, $16.2 billion worth of products to other countries. We bought $17.2 billion worth of foreign ag products. My complex math operations reveal that's a $1 billion trade deficit in June. And Bart says, actually,
we have had a deficit for the past 4 months, including June.
but even so, for the first 9 months of this fiscal year, we're still running a $7 billion ag trade surplus, but it does seem to be getting smaller every month. Meanwhile, let's talk of happier news. During the first 9 months of this fiscal year, the dollar value of our ag exports is up there at $152.5 billion, 14% more than the same time frame 1 year ago. Here's how some of our bulk products are doing. Wheat sales, $5.5 billion worth, up 9% from last year.
Corn exports were $16 billion, an increase of 13%. Soybeans were up 18%, and cotton exports were up 33% over last year at $6.9 billion.
Now, USDA's current ag export forecast for the entire fiscal year, which ends September 30, is for a record $191 billion worth of ag sales to other nations. And that number
would be, if realized, a 11% increase over 2021.
So are we going to achieve that $191 billion mark? Bart says, actually, as you heard a moment ago, exports are already running 14% ahead of this past year. At least they were up through June.
So if things continue in the same way, we would overshoot that forecast
by quite a bit.
But that's a very simplistic way to look at that.
Well, yeah, because as Bart says to me, every month,
a lot can happen in
a
fiscal quarter.
Yeah, that's right. And besides that, USDA will be releasing a new trade forecast end of this month, both for the current fiscal year, but also for the new 2023 fiscal year that starts October 1st. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
It's 28 minutes after the hour here on this Tuesday morning. News Today streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton, and news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters.